Welcome to another episode of the Blank Canvas, a project brought to you by Plinko Solutions, focused on AI and accessibility, building in public, building real-time business infrastructure. So today is a bit of an exciting one. Couple progress updates from our last video here. Let me walk you guys through this. So yesterday, I kind of went through a bit of a long sprint, and actually, funny enough, I didn't even give up. I had my million daily token limits hit by running like 3 AI agents at the same time, and basically trying to like funnel them into Bolt to try to like build this thing. And I maxed out my Bolt request. However, what I did do, in a decently successful way, was actually get something that works. So, when I say works, I mean works very loosely. So let me walk you guys through it. Use this platform called Vercel, which basically allows me to deploy things. I have everything integrated into GitHub, which is kind of like this single source of truth, acting like it is the repository. So again, this isn't public just yet, but from here, I pretty much have my project mapped out. Pretty much been vibe coding this for the past weekend, I would say. Been ideating on it for a long time, but bringing it into life with some real hours. And I got to a point now where I've actually got something in production. So before it was just all code, no way to access it. But as you can tell, it's quite ugly. Even the effects, this is not intended. This is just showing you guys where it's at. So from here, has an idea together. The animations aren't too shabby, but yeah, it gets to around here and then it breaks. So it jumps right here. See that animation split, and then none of these work. So that's where I'm at with that. I waited until midnight, and then I took an additional like hour of using up the tokens to bring it to this point. I stopped recording obviously before midnight, so this will still continue to take motion as I schedule it off into my calendar. Another piece that I'm excited to which I'm really excited to bring to life here was a tidbit I did, kind of breaking down the AI agents that I have in full production. Now with GPT-5, something I've learned by like from today, for example, sent off, I mean, fingers crossed they close, but well over like 20K worth of pipeline, just proposals, which I'm really excited about. If any of it closes, I'll be more than over the moon. But a large part of that conversation was basically building around these concepts of AI agents. So here are 2 kind of points about this that I want to draw, and this will kind of be the focus of today. So AI agents, as the technical people understand it, means one thing. As the non-technical people, the enterprise folks, it means another. So when I talk about AI agents specifically here, so let's do the big old AI agents. What I'm referring to when I'm talking to technical people is an automation, right? And combined with memory, right? So an N8N workflow, a make.com workflow, it basically allows you to funnel a prompt chain, which is a series of instructions, and to do so in a standardized kind of assembly line fashion, so it becomes productized. So if you can imagine that, if you're looking to build, for example, websites, there's only a certain amount of ways you can instruct a language model to do it for you, or even instruct somebody to do it, and a certain level of detail and precision that natural language requires of you to do so. So from a technical standpoint, it's a real art to bring these things into reality. People will call it AI agents, but reality is it hits the bare minimum on the technical side. Where it actually translates for enterprise people, right? For people that actually are non-technical, when I say enterprise, I'm referring to like execs or like C-level, like people that don't use anything beyond ChatGPT. What they're encompassing is automation, right? So that's kind of core. That's why it's AI and automation. I can dive deeper into that in a bit. Memory, right? So it remembers what we're doing, but it also achieves dependable task, meaning that same piece I mentioned where it's an assembly line and it's productized, they assume that's already there. They assume that's part of it, which is why in the marketing, it's become very difficult to really bring it to life. So Lindy.ai, not an affiliate, would love to be, um, basically offers you free credits. And you can build these actual AI agents. So I'll show you what the marketing looks like, which I think is really nice. It breaks it down into these 3 buckets: sales, customer support, and recruiting. The rest I'll explain in a bit, but for sake of purposes, we'll actually mainly focus on the first 2 here. Sales actually go like this. So customer service is support. It's responding to people. It's being there for whatever they need, right? This is a high volume, definitely resource intensive part of any company. Having a system that has, its own way of basically involving a human in the loop, using a language model built on an automated workflow that has memory embedded in it is really powerful. Reality is, you don't need to pay a tool to do this. As is great, like for sure, you get an advantage of having their UI and their sort of platform in terms of convenience. But if you are technical, you can build this quite simply with N8N, right? And you can do so in a way that isn't too crazy to pick up. And there's a number of resources on how to do it. I'm excited as well to kind of enter the sort of information space and information economy. There's more art than the technical side when it comes to sales. Reason being is you're dealing with personalization, you're dealing with objection handling, you're dealing with enrichment, right? So all 3 of those. Let's walk you guys through that really quick, right here. So each of these require a element that kind of feed into each other. So if you can imagine, enrichment usually means that you have a scraped lead, which if you're unfamiliar with, check out our earlier episodes in the series. I have a full playlist dedicated to it. But essentially, it's how you source leads, get new people, and then this is how you find out about them, right? So you pull from their company profile, their LinkedIn profiles, and anywhere they have a presence. When you do that, the intent is so that you can personalize, you can understand why you're reaching out to begin with. Lindy.ai, LinkedIn agent, is really good at this. If you're curious to kind of see how it does it, highly recommend checking it out. From there, that personalization allows you to understand their pain points when they push back. So objections, Alex Ramosi kind of dives into this, really falls into core buckets of price, authority, needs, and timing, right? If it doesn't fit their needs, then there's no way that's going to fit. If it doesn't fit their budget, then they can't make it happen right now. If they don't trust you and they don't think you're the guy to solve it, guy or gal, it's not your place. And if the timing is off, they want this solution in by Christmas versus, now, it's not going to work. But the only way you ever figure those buckets out is actually have a conversation with them. If you are having AI handle that for you, you lose the art of actually building trust by having conversations and intending to help people. Speaking from sales management, like your intent on these calls is to foster those connections and to build that, right? So where does that leave us? When it comes to actually using AI agents in real-time production, there's a few different ways of going about it, right? You can use it for your internal development, for your own actual business, your own actual, utility. You can also use it to help other people, feed it into their problems, right? And then, as you can see, when it comes to visualizing it, getting a mermaid diagram and seeing kind of like what goes into that, you start to see all the moving parts of how a single AI agent, a single system can handle a lot of operational fatigue. If you had humans basically handle these kind of color-coded pieces, um, even as just one person, like it can become a lot, right? And what's helpful too, even at just a simple glance, a lot of these frameworks and ways of developing revenue are just ideas at the end of the day, which language models come up with. And if you plug in your own proven models, Alex Ramosi, or you know, people that you know and companies that you trust, if you're within a specific vertical, a specific domain, the more data and context you can feed these intelligence systems, the more they can give you and the more they can help you build in real time. And that's kind of the process. So if you are currently following and you're working with these guys in real time, these AI agents, you'll notice it's a real process of trust. And yesterday was a testament of that. You know, my 2.5 years with these, building with these things is kind of like that, where at some point you're just hitting hotkeys and you're just the courier from here's the mess, intelligence system, help me clean this up. Here's the mess, intelligence system, help me. And that's kind of the idea. So yeah, join us on this journey under the blank canvas where we do exactly that. We build in real time and of course funnel these deterministic structures into achieving something real. So with that at the root, one final note I wanted to make before signing off. I mentioned briefly this information economy, this info products, and this kind of piece about building something that empowers versus capitalizing on ignorance. That's something that's been heavy on my mind and something I'm going to be actualizing in the coming weeks to months. So as you see me kind of play around more with this broadcasting and content creation side of things, I'm also looking at how can I create something more useful for more people. And with that as a baseline, see you guys in the next one.